I've been waiting a long time to pull the trigger on this coin, and today is the day I get to bring it to you. This Australian Silver Emu. This is a 2023 variety, but the artwork changes every single year, and this coin is always in high demand. It is a Perth-made product, meaning it has the highest of quality and design, and is already consistently sold for over $45 on eBay, which is almost $6 more than I paid for it not too long ago. In such a short time, we see a monetary disparity showing the strength of this series. It is a calling card of the might of Perth Mint and what I call the second tier of popularity. The first tier obviously reserved for kookaburra, koala, and the such, and the second tier hosts things like the emu. I have wanted this coin for some time, but premiums often kept me away, and lo and behold, APMEX came through with a great sale which told me this was the year I would get one. I love this 2023, and I'm sure it will not be my last. Before we rate this coin on the 60-point scale, let's talk about the emu for a moment, as many of you want to know about it. The emu is a large flightless bird, much like the ostrich, but it's native to Australia. It is a significant part of the native Aboriginal tradition and also very important to the ecosystem of Australia. The emu is diurnal, meaning it's active during the day. One of the most important roles of the emu is seed spreading. Though the emu is an omnivore, eating many insects and invertebrates, it loves to eat the seeds of many plants like acacia and thus spreads the seeds through digestion. The emu is also a bit of an oddity, as the males are the ones to not only build a nest, but the males usually brood the eggs and care for the chicks while the female is gallivanting around doing whatever female emus do. More on that later. This bird often reaches the 5 to 6 foot range when fully grown and lays magnificent green eggs that are large and hopefully one day will be offered as an omelet around the world, as I would love to try one. Emus, much like hobos, are best observed from a distance as they have very powerful legs which happen to be armed with some fierce claws. In defensive posturing, these birds will leap in the air and deliver a flurry of kicks that would make Chuck Norris envious. But is this coin right for you? Well, let's place it on our 60-point scale to find out. When we look at the obverse, we are met with the effigy of Her Late Majesty, Queen Elizabeth. This is one of the reasons I went with the 2023 variety rather than opt for the 2024. The Queen will be in my mind more collectible, and this is her last year on the coin, but also, as we see in the legend, it features her years of reign, which is basically a privy mark, as this is the only year that will have this type of denomination. Perth does a fantastic job, and Jody Clark always brings an A game to the classic design. I scored an 8. The reverse is where we go next, and what a scene it is. We see the emu and a couple of chicks in the desert scrubland, which is a place where you would find these majestic birds. They actually can be found all over the lush forest near the coast as well, through the dry interior. It is a beautiful scene, and the imagery is quite effective. I love that Sean Rogers, the artist of the scene, incorporated appropriate foliage and played texture on texture by frosting the horizon up to the zenith of the legend. This is simply outstanding, and even the chicks have appropriate plumage stripes. I love everything about this, the fonts, the textures, and the qualities as the eye moves across the field. Everything is great. I score it a 10. Minges is our next category to dive into, and for this coin, it is a strong category. There are only 30,000 coins of this 2023, and not only does that number score an 8, but it also is in the sweet spot where you are likely to have access to buy one in the first year of issue, but after that it becomes exponentially harder as it is sold out at the Perth Mint, and most other distributors only have the 2024 version. Now we must assess cultural significance. The kookaburra is probably the bird we coin enthusiasts think when we think of Australia, but I would argue that the average person, when thinking about a bird to describe Australia, would probably choose the emu. It is a legendary creature, it's on their coat of arms, and it is vitally important not only to the biodiversity of the land, but also the history and culture of the island. You cannot really separate the two, and so therefore I scored a 10. Collectibility is our 5th category. This is one of the most popular series in Australia and honestly throughout the world, which is saying quite a lot. It is not a kook or koala, we understand that, but it also has a fraction of the mintage of those two. This is a coin that is not a lunar, but has a lower mintage with ever-changing artwork. Therefore, I do find it highly collectible, and I scored a 9. Uniqueness is our last category, and one to really consider, as when I search for emu coins, Australia is really the only nation I find. With the exception of this series, just about every emu coin I find is one with an Australian coat of arms, which beckons again to the cultural significance. Within this series, I'm reminded of the beauty and class this series has with each example of artwork from bygone years. This means not only is this a unique coin, as the artwork is only used this year, but also means that it is extremely unique, as the obverse even has a privy-like mark in the notation of the Queen's year of reigns, scoring it a 10 and bringing it to our final thoughts and score. This classic emu coin flutters across the line at an extremely elite 55 out of 60, meaning it has made one of our highest rated coins of the year. In closing, this is a series to be on the lookout for as a collector, a naturalist, or stacker. It is already selling for well beyond what I paid for it, and I think that many collectors in time will be trying to complete a full set offering premiums for this coin. It is beautiful and is one every collector should consider. Thank you as always for watching, and please remember to stay classy and current with the culture of currency.